Anatomical division of large intestine. You can see here in the picture, naka-label na lahat. So, it extends from the end of the ileum and it goes down to the anus. So, the parts, you can see, we have the appendix, we have the cecum, pachyal, ascending colon, transverse, tapos descending colon, sigmoid, rectum, and anus. Okay. So, the layers of the large intestine is almost the same with the small intestine. However, there is one structure that is missing. Ano yun? Yung wala dyan. Meron siyang mucosa, muscularis mucosa, muscle, circular muscle, longitudinal muscle, serosa. In microscopic level, anong wala dyan? Dito sa drawing. Villi. Kung meron kayong villi sa large intestine ninyo, good luck. Ang villi is for absorption. Tama. Yes, there is absorption sa large intestine. Na-discuss natin yan. Usually it occurs on one part, proximal, the first or the half, the second half. Pag-absorption sa large intestine. First half. Okay? The second half is for storage of fecal material. So, these are the large intestine key features. We have the house tract, taenia coli, and the epiploic appendages. So you can see in the picture the house tract, pouch-like circulations, okay, formed by the contraction of the taenia coli. I have already discussed this during sa lecture sa fissures sa motility. The taenia coli, on the other hand, these are the three distinct flat muscles that is distributed along the large intestine, okay? And we have the epiploic appendages. This is a small fat-filled peritoneal projections along the colon. So, ayun. And then I have a better picture. So, yan. So, appendices, epiploic, yan yung mga taba-taba na parang appendix din, pero taba yan. Okay? Usually, it's located starting from the transverse, going down to the descending colon and sigmoid. They can be seen on the right side. So, ascending colon and then transverse colon, they can be seen, pero hindi ganun kasi karami. House creations, it's seen in all structures of the large intestine. And then the taenia coli, ito yung flat muscles. Nakikita niyo ba doon? Yung flat muscles na yan. Okay, yan ang taenia coli. May clinical significance ang taenia coli mamaya, including the appendices epiploic. The problem with appendices epiploic, kung babalikan natin yung slide kanina, makikita nyo may mga blood vessels dito. Hindi natin dyan. Yan pala. Okay. So you can see yung blood supply dito sa may large intestine, it protrudes into the appendices epiploic. So this poses a problem, especially pag nagkaroon ng torsion. Pag umikot yan at namatay na nasakal ang blood supply, magkakaroon ka ng gangrenous end sa distal part ng appendices epiploic. So what will happen? If it occurs on the right lower quadrant, it will mimic what disease? Appendicitis. If it occurs on the left side, what will it mimic? Diverticulitis. Okay. Ang diverticulitis is an outpouching. Ganito ang diverticulitis, mas madaling intindihin. Meron kayong balon, yung iniikot-ikot yung balon na ginagawa na aso, gano'n, right? Yung pakapag gano'n. Ang tawag niyo doon sa balon na yun? Parang hotdog na balon, right?
Hotdog.
Ngayon, hawakan mo yung balon tapos squeeze mo. Yung mga sides ng balon na lalabas sa mga daliri mo in between your fingers, yun ang tinatawag. Ganon ang itsura ng mga outpouching. So, ganon ang itsura ng mga diverticulosis. So, there is a weakness on the integrity of the muscular wall ng large intestine. Okay? We will also tackle that later. So, peritoneal relations. The large intestine, here, the retroperitoneal part of the large intestine are the ascending and descending colon. Covered yan. Naka-cover yan ng peritoneum, hindi yan mobile. Okay? However, yung intraperitoneal segment, ibig sabihin yan, naka-protrude yan sa peritoneum and it is mobile. So, the cecum, the transverse colon, and the sigmoid colon. So, transverse, sigmoid, suspended by mesocolons, allowing for greater mobility. Yung mobility nitong intraperitoneal segments poses a problem. So pag nag-twist yan at hindi yan nag-reduce, usually nagkakaroon ng compromise sa blood supply. Ang tawag natin dun ay volvulus. We will also discuss that later. Ini-inject ko lang para at least may associate natin as we go on. So these are the difference between the large and small intestines. So the external differences, we have the mobility. Siyempre, small intestines, hindi yan, walang segment na retrocecal except the duodenum. Tama. So, jejunum, ileum, hindi sila covered ng peritoneum. Also, caliber when filled, mas maliit siyempre, kaya ang tinawag natin is small intestine. It is smaller than the large, okay? So, Taenia coli, there is no Taenia coli in small intestine. Large intestine has appendices, epilocae, absence in small intestine, presence in large intestine. Wall, smooth ang wall ng small intestine. However, sa large intestine, dito na nag-appear yung ostration. Okay? What is again the structure that causes the ostration? Taenia coli, nakakontra. Okay. The internal differences, we have the plicae circularis or valvulae conjugates. I will show you a picture mamaya. Presence sa small intestine, there is none in the large intestine. Of course, villi, you only have it in the small intestine and Peyer's patches. So this is a normal abdominal X-ray. Maganda sana kung si Dr. Mendoza mag-explain sa inyo. Pero anyway, bigyan ko lang kayo ng bird's eye view. So the abdominal X-ray, most of the time, air is seen on the lateral side. Okay? So yung lateral side, if you're going to look at the anatomy, yung lateral side is occupied by the large intestine. So yung peripheral side, ideally, it's occupied by the large intestine. So air is normally seen on or inside the large intestine. If you're going to look at the middle part, mapapansin nyo, there are small structures na may mga may mga kaunting hangin. Pero kung titignan nyo dito sa number 8, yung number 8 na yan, that's also a part of the large intestine. That's the rectum. You can see air on the small intestine very minimally pag normal ang pasyente. Okay? Now let's go to the abdomen. Yan. This patient is suffering from intestinal obstruction. Okay. The small intestine, you can see here yung mga arrow. Okay, we have the valvulae conjugates. Ang tawag namin dyan, ang description namin dyan ay stack of points. Marami kang points, pinagpatong-patong mo, it looks like that. In a normal patient, wala kayong makikitang air na nag-build up sa small intestine. Okay? If it goes beyond 3 centimeter, that's already significant finding na either the small intestine is not moving or there is an obstruction distally. Okay? Now, if you have air in the small intestine, may either ayaw bumalaw, ileus, or intestinal obstruction. So, example, pag sinabi ko there is an air noted in the small intestine, what are your possible causes? Obstruction and ileus. Ang ileus is there is no obstruction, but the movement of the intestine is not normal. So, normally, hindi na po propel yung food. So, microorganism tends to multiply. So, magkakaroon kayo ng gas production. And then, the movement ng intestine is stagnant. So, magkakaroon kayo ng air sa loob ng circulation. Okay. On the large intestine, on the other hand, look. Ang lalaki, ano? So you can see here the house ratios. Tama? Comparing dun sa valvulae convergence niya, ito, mapapansin nyo, halos buong diameter, meron kayong plicae semilunaris or valvulae convergence. Dito yung house ratios niya, mapapansin nyo sa large intestine, hindi complete. Hindi complete na nag-bridge from wall to wall. Okay? Plus, tingnan nyo yung distance. Maliliit ang distance ng valvulae convergence. However, sa large intestine, kita nyo ang lalaki. So that's one way of looking at the X-ray. Pagdating nyo ng third year, mas magiging in-depth ang discussion ng mga teachers nyo, especially sa IM at sa surgery. Okay? May question? X-ray? So, SICO. So, part by part, i-discuss natin. So, this can be seen in your book. Siyempre, kung uulitin ko lang, malamang hindi ka nagbasa kung hindi mo naiintindihan ito. Pero these are all taken from experience. So, we can read it na lang. However, daan natin ang kaunti. The widest part of the large intestine is the SICO. It is also the thinnest part of the large intestine. It can accommodate up to 10 cm ang wide ng diameter niya. Okay? So, that's how pliable the SICO is. Why? Bakit kaya niyang mag-accommodate ng ganung kalaki? Bakit sa tingin niyo? If you're going to go back dun sa kanyang relationship sa peritoneum, right? Yung ascending column is covered by peritoneum. So the peritoneum is limiting the diameter of the ascending column. So ang chances are, yung free area ang mag-accommodate. Right? So siya ang mag-accommodate. So usually, the thinnest part is the most susceptible part of the small intestine. So this is the part that usually ruptures kung merong obstruction, for example, sa rectum. Okay? So it is completely covered by peritoneum, but it is mobile, has no mesentery, blind-ended pouch, and the appendix is attached to its posteromedial. Nasa likod, pero nakaturo siya papunta sa cord, spinal cord, posteromedial. Okay? So the most common position of the appendix is retrocecal. Tama? Because of that position. So posteromedial. Then you collide longitudinal muscles forming three flat bands that ends to the base of the appendix. This is of surgical significance. If you do an appendectomy, okay, apparently medyo dikit-dikit kasi rupture na yung appendix. Pagbukas ng surgeon at makikita niya, ang tawag namin doon sa pagmahirap, pagbukas mo mahirap anatomy, ang tawag namin doon is gubat. Diba? Siyempre, gubat, mahirap pumasok sa loob, right? Para sa amin doon, it would be very difficult to dissect kasi nga dikit-dikit. Now, in order for you to find where the base of the appendix is, you look for the tenia coli. Hanapin mo yung isa sa tenia coli and then you trace it downward. Eventually, it will lead you to the base of the appendix. Kasi the longitudinal layer of the appendix is the convergence of the three tenia coli. There are three tenia coli. Okay? So, ileocecal valve, we have already discussed this. So, yung lip-like protrusion doon is the ileocecal valve. It also, pag nag-distend ang ileocecal area, usually kagaya na lecture ko, nagkakaroon ng acute angle. Tama? It also contributes to the valve function of the ileocecal valve. Gastrin hormone produced by stomach causes relaxation of the muscle. Appendix. It's a narrow muscular tube, contains a large amount of lymphoid tissue. Length is about 3 to 5 inches. Base is attached to posteromedial surface of cecum about 1 inch below the iliocecal junction and has complete peritoneal covering attached to mesentery. We have the mesoappendix. Okay, it is attached on the medial surface of the appendix, and then it contains blood supply and also lymph nodes. So it's the lymph drainage is we have lymph vessels drain to the 1 or 2 nodes lying in the mesoappendix, and it drains to the superior mesentery nodes. May question ka dito so far? Okay, wala. Yung blood supply niya is a branch of posterior cecal artery. May mga dito, may mga authors na questioning this, but since this is what is telling us, so we will follow the posterior cecal artery. Okay. So position of appendix, it varies. The most common position is retrocecal because of the anatomical position of the base of the appendix. Okay. Also, pelvic, the second most common. Ibig sabihin ng pelvic is nakaturo yung feet niya towards the pelvic area. Now, we also have the McBurney's point and the McBurney's sign. What is the difference of McBurney's point and McBurney's sign? Naibigay ko ito sa question. McBurney's. Okay. McBurney's point is the, how do you find it out na naman? Draw. Okay, draw a line. 3 lines, tama? From the axis to the umbilicus, tama? Actually, 2 lines. Para maging 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. Okay? Yung first 1/3, yung junction ng 1/3 and 2/3 from the axis, yun ang McBurney's point. Okay, then the McBurney's sign naman is the point of maximal pain. Pag pinindot mo yung McBurney's point, tapos nag-elicit ng pain, that is McBurney's sign. So yung pagpapalitin ng point, point is the location, the anatomy. Sign is what you elicit. Okay? The sensitivity is about 50 to 94%, and the specificity is about 75 to 86%. So ibig sabihin, very helpful ang McBurney's sign if you are trying to diagnose acute appendicitis. The nerve supply, vagus nerves from superior mesenteric plexus. Afferent nerve accompanied the sympathetic nerve enters the spinal cord at the level of 10 thoracic. So ascending colon. As I said, the ascending colon is covered by peritoneum, so it is retrocecally located. It's about 5 inches. The force extends upward from cecum into the inferior surface of the right lobe. Now, pag nag-turn yan towards sa left ng pasyente, ang tawag natin doon ay anong flexure yun? Hepatic or splenic?
Hepatic.
Tandaan nyo, ascending is hepatic. Descending is splenic. Okay. So, peritoneum covers the front and sides of ascending colon, binding into the posterior abdominal wall. Blood supply, you have the ileocolic and right colic. So, discuss natin itong blood supply. Madali lang naman intindihin. On the right side, the blood supply of the large intestine is coming from the superior mesentery. On the left side, it is inferior mesentery. So, pag sinabi mong ileocolic, it supplies the ileo and the large intestine. That's why ileocolic. Ileocolic, itong part na to. Ito ang ileocolic. Now, we have another blood vessel that is supplying the right side. Right colic. Diba? Ang daling intindihin, right colic. Now, nasa right end, it's pointing towards the right. It supplies the right side. Now, we also have the middle colic. Kasi nga, it supplies the left, the right side of the transverse colon. Yung location niya, nandito sa gitna. In between the right and the left. So, middle colic. The middle colic has two branches. We also have the right and the left middle colic. Okay? May clinical significance yan. Pagdating naman dito sa descending colon, it is now taken off the inferior mesenteric artery. Okay? So, inferior mesenteric artery gives rise to the left rib. Tapos, magbibigay siya ng sigmoid and superior rectal. Ang daling i-memorize, di ba? The right side is supplied by the superior mesenteric, but the left side is supplied by the inferior mesenteric. In between, sa transverse, it is supplied by the middle colic in anastomosis with a branch of the ascending colon. Okay? Branch of the left colic, paakyat yan sa splenic flexure and in anastomosis with the left side of the middle colic. For us, this is very important kasi ang basis namin when we cut the large intestine, especially for dealing with cancer, we base our decision sa blood supply. Ano ba ang mode of metastasis ng rectal cancer? Is it through blood or lymphatics? Lymphatics. Ito, bakit sa blood supply ka nagbe-base? Bakit hindi sa lymphatics? O ano, di ba? Bakit? Bakit? Because the lymphatic drainage follows the path of the blood vessel. So, ano mas madaling hanapin? Lymphatics or artery?
Artery.
Artery. Kasi kahit hawakan kayo, nagpapalsate eh. Tama? So, ito yung location ng superior mesenteric. Ipapalpate mo ngayon. Sandali. Nasaan ang right colic? Pagpapalsate. Makikita nyo ba yung right side ng lymphatic vessels? Definitely hindi. So, if you control the artery, you are also controlling the lymphatics. However, that is not true with the veins. We will be discussing naman yung venous drainage ng large intestine. The transverse colon, okay, it's also a mobile part. It's 15 inches, begins from the right colic flexure and then goes to the splenic flexure. Okay, the left colic flexure is higher than the right colic flexure. Bakit? Bakit mas mataas ang splenic flexure compared sa hepatic? It is actually following the contour of the liver. Kasi mas malaki ang liver on the right side. Tama? Yeah. And spleen is higher compared sa position. Mas mataas ang spleen sa compared sa right side. So, phrenic colic ligaments suspends the left colic flexure from the diaphragm. The blood supply. So, I have mentioned a while back, the blood supply in the middle of the transverse colon is coming from the middle colic artery. Okay. The left colic artery also supplies the distal part of the transverse colon. The anastomosis will give supply on the splenic flexure area. Lymph drainage, it follows the path of the blood vessel. Okay? So the proximal tutor drains into the colic nodes and then into the superior mesenteric. Now the distal third naman, it goes down to the inferior mesenteric. Again, this is important if you are going to resect cancer scan on the hepatic flexure or on the transverse colon. Okay? So yan ang magiging basis natin. The next supply, we have superior mesenteric plexus innervate the proximal tutor, the sympathetic and parasympathetic pelvic splanchnic nerves through the inferior mesenteric plexus innervates the distal third. Naririnig ko kanina. Descending colon. So the descending colon is a constriction of the splenic flexure. It is again retroperitoneally located. Its relations anteriorly, course of small intestine, greater omentum and anterior abdominal wall. Posteriorly, lateral border of the left kidney, origin of the transversus abdominis muscle, quadratus lumborum, iliac crest, iliacus, and psoas. So makikita nyo sa likod, it's more of the muscles, except the kidneys. Blood supply, inferior mesenteric artery. Okay? Then drainage, left colic lymph nodes drains into the inferior mesenteric nodes. Okay? And then the nerve supply, pelvic splenic nerves to the inferior mesenteric plexus. Again, this is the arterial supply of the large intestine. So, ulitin ko, on the right side is coming from the superior mesenteric. The left side is coming from the inferior mesenteric. The superior mesenteric gives rise to ileocolic, right colic, and middle colic. The inferior mesenteric artery gives rise to the left colic, tapos sigmoid artery, tama? And superior rectal artery. Lilituhin ko kayo, mamaya aangal na naman kayo sa questions ko, ha? Maliwanag na yung dyan, explanation dyan. Venous drainage, ito yung pagkakaiba nila. You see, the venous drainage, the superior mesenteric still follows yung part that is being supplied by the artery. However, it drains into the portal vein. Diretso na sa portal vein. Samantalang yung left, okay, yung inferior mesenteric, hindi yan magde-drain directly sa portal vein. Mag-anastomose siya muna sa splenic vein. Okay? So once the splenic vein joins with the superior mesenteric vein, it becomes portal vein. O na palaging lumalabas sa exam to. What are the two tributaries? Kung minsan 3 sinasabi nila. Pero usually the 2 tributaries of the portal vein. So superior mesenteric and splenic. Pag tatlong na pag sinabi nila what are the 3, so superior mesenteric, splenic, and inferior mesenteric. Okay? Lymphatic drainage, as I said, it follows the path of the artery. Ganun lang kadali i-memorize ang lymphatic. If you memorize the arterial blood supply, madali lang i-memorize ang lymphatic. So nerve supply, superior mesenteric plexus innervates the proximal two-third. Sympathetic and parasympathetic ganglions lang nerves through the inferior mesenteric plexus innervate the distal third. Dermatomes. So, narinig ko rin kanina, dinidiscuss ni Dr. Regina, okay, yung mga referred things. So, ito na yung dermatome layer. Again, ulitin ko, T7 at the level of the xiphoid process. Umbilitus is at the level of T10. And the L1 is above inguinal ligament of the symphysis cutis. So let's go to the clinical correlation. May mga questions pa kayo? Okay, clinical correlation. Let's start with appendices epiclucae versus diverticula. The appendices epiclucae, again, may mga blood supply yan. So once it twists at nagkaroon ng torsion yan, magkakaroon ng shutting of blood supply towards the tip area. So magkakaroon ng gangrene. Siyempre, pag may gangrene, merong inflammation. Tama? So what are the cardinal signs of inflammation? Tumor, calor, dolor, Ano? Rubor. Tandaan nyo yan, hindi yan mawawala. Okay? Pero wag yun ang gagamitin explanation sa mga pasyente nyo. Nangunahan lang kayo ng ganyan ng pasyente kasi hindi niya alam ang ibig sabihin. Okay? Sabihin niyo swelling, redness, okay, tenderness, and pain. Okay. So, yung appendix epilogue is actually an appendage. It has nothing to do with the layers of the large intestine. Okay? So, nasa labas lang siya. Kumbaga, parang lamudi lang. However, pagdating naman dito sa diverticula, makikita nyo yung wall, yung inner lining ng large intestine, nakaprotrude outside sa wall. So may ballooning of the entire layers of the large intestine. It goes out along with the mucosal layer. Okay? So there is a weakness on the integrity of the entire layer of the intestine. So usually, it is believed na yung spastic movement nung left colon, usually it's affecting the left side of the intestine. Kasi nga yung movement ng tali pababa. Pag masyado siyang malakas mag-contract, eventually mapapagod yung wall, magkakaroon ng weakness hanggang magbabalon out siya. That is just okay kung walang. However, if it is associated with infection, parang appendicitis. Okay? So magkakaroon ng pamamaga, eventually pag nag-swell, blood supply is compromised, eventually leading to the death of the tip of the diverticula, pumuputok. Ano ba laman ng large intestine? Especially on the left side. Tali, right? Manifestation niya is like appendicitis on the left side. Okay? So there is pain, tenderness, rigidity, okay, muscle guarding, andun lahat. Can this be diagnosed through endoscopy, colonoscopy? It can be. However, the diagnostic tool of choice is CT scan. It's just nice to know, okay? It's just nice to know. Now, acute appendicitis, this is the most favorite topic of surgeons. This is our bread and butter, okay? Bakit ginawa ni Lord ang appendix? Maraming nagdidebate dyan. Okay, mag-debate tayo. Bakit ginawa ni Lord ang appendix? During fetal development, anong function niya? Histology. Come on. Ano ang function ni appendix? Kasama yan sa ano, sa nire-lecture nila sa ano ito? Fetal development. Tactics sa immune system na something to do with the immune system. Tama. Hanggang anong taon? Huwag nyo sabihin hanggang ngayon, pag meron pa kayong panlaban sa ng immune system sa appendix, usually it stops after childhood. Okay? So pagdating ng adolescent, yun ang peak season, peak incidence ng appendicitis. Actually, it's up to 22. Okay? Kaya lang, ang cause is not because of lymphatics. The very most common cause is the obstruction of the appendiceal lumen. Okay? So, yung kanyang function, it stops after childhood. Ano pang reason? Bakit merong appendix? Sirit? Meron pa kami isip? Sirit. Ano? Sige. Yes. Pero that is applicable during the fetal development up to childhood. After childhood, pagdating mo ng adolescent and above, the only reason bakit may appendicitis na binigyan kami ni Lord ng gagawin. Hindi kasama sa exam yun. Sabi nga nila God cures. Tama. God cures. Doctors are there to collect fee. Dito to yun. Magagalit si Dr. Regina dito. Okay. The most common cause of appendicitis is, ayun, makikita nyo, appendicular. Okay? So, tumigas na tali inside the lumen of the appendix. Now, bakit magbabarado? Halos lahat naman ng adult pwede magkaroon ng ganyan. Very lang, excuse me.
Gusto ka nakalak ko yung sandali.
Sige, avoid that. Okay. Hindi lahat ng mayroong appendicular nagkakaroon ng appendicitis. Tandaan niyo yan. You have to have an inciting condition that will trigger the persistence ng infection. So, di ba, meron lymphoid tissue surrounding the appendix? Right? Ganito ang kwento niya. Surrounding the appendix, meron lymphoid tissues dito. Assuming na itong appendicular is somewhere here. Okay? Now, nagkaroon ng UTI ang pasyente or systemic viral infection. Ano ang response ng lymphatics? Mag-hypertrophy, right? So, lahat lymphoid tissues nyo magre-respond, including the lymphoid tissues that is within the appendix. So what will happen is mamamaga din yung mag-hypertrophy yung appendix. For example, you have 90% obstruction being caused by this appendicular. Magiging 100% na yan because of that. So magkakaroon ng hypertrophy of lymphatics. So, yung microorganisms distally, hindi na ngayon makakalabas at saka yung mga products nila. So, matutotal na magkakaroon ng closed na circuit. So, that will give them more time to replicate. Tama? Now, magkakaroon kayo ng inflammation. Pag nagkaroon ng inflammation, anong unang-unang makakompromise? Artery, vein, or lymphatics? Pag tumaas ang pressure dito, what will be compromised initially? Lymphatics. Kasi yan ang pinaka-least ang resistance. So, ano ba trabaho ng lymphatics? It drains what? Fluids. Right. So, ngayon, yung lymphatic drainage mo, hindi na rin makabalik doon sa kanyang normal flow. So, magkakaroon kayo ngayon ng edema. Continuous edema production, it will now compromise next the vein. Tama? So magkakaroon kayo ngayon ng flow. Pumapasok yung flow ng artery, pero yung vein ayaw na mag-drain. Okay? Plus, the infection is already starting. Or it already started. So ang mangyayari, compromised lymphatics, compromised vein, and then eventually artery. Bago magkaroon ng compromise ng artery, yung stagnation ng blood flow will cause necrosis on the tip. Kasi sila ang pinaka-vulnerable. Tama? So, ang most common cause ng rupture ng appendix is the tip. Okay? So, yun ang kwento ng appendicitis. Naintindihan? Yan lang kadali. So, yan. Ito pa rin concept ng pag- Tinilecture ko ito last year, nakalimutan ko rin ginawa ng obstruction of the appendicial lumen, fecal foreign body, fibrosis, tumor of lymph nodes, etc. etc. Appendix distension and spasm, and then increased lumen pressure, and decreased blood flow, ischemia and tissue necrosis happens, and then bacterial invasion of appendicial wall causing transmural inflammation, and then perforation of appendix, eventually magkakaroon ka ng problema. So, ito yung stretching of visceral peritoneum, stimulation of autonomic nerves T9 to T10. Tapos, progression of inflammation, pareho length of time. Irritation of parietal peritoneum, stimulation of somatic nerves T10 to T12. Now, this explains the signs and symptoms. So, if you stretch the viscera, and then you stimulate the autonomic nervous system, T10, T9, T10, you will have a dull, crampy, diffuse abdominal pain. So, ang unang i-complain ng pasyente is parang, Dok, masakit dito. Hindi niya alam kung ano ituturo niya. Ano ba yung level ng T10? Umbilicus lang. So, yun ang usual na tinuturo. Dok, dito. Turo mo isang daliri. Isang daliri nga, pero Dok, dito. So, magulo talaga, no? Kasi hindi mo mapipinpoint because nag-start pa lang. Because of the appendiceal distension. Eventually, patient may develop fever or diarrhea at the level of this ischemic tissue necrosis na. Kasi nga, meron ka ng systemic inflammatory response. Now, pag natin dito sa bacterial invasion of appendix wall causing transmural inflammation or necrosis, magkakaroon ka na ngayon ng irritation of parietal peritoneum. So, ito na yung somatic pain. So, focal persistence of right lower quadrant pain. Meron na ngayon yung pag pinindot mo sa right, masakit na. Pag binitawan mo, masakit pa rin. Okay? Bakit masakit pag binitawan mo? Anong part ang na-stretch? Peritoneum. So, stretching of the peritoneum, especially if it's inflamed, will trigger pain. Okay? Naintindihan niyo ba ito? Itong concept ito. So, ipinakita ko na yung pathology niya, yung nerves na involved, at saka yung signs and symptoms. So, ito na yung progression with increased luminal pressure, appendiceal distension, and inflammation. And then, eventually, magkakaroon ng necrosis, usually sa distal third. Nasaan po ito? Ayan na, perforation, rupture of necrotic appendiceal wall and subsequent release of bacterial and pus. Okay? Intussusception. Alam niyo yung telescope ng mga pirate, yung pinapahaba ni Jack Sparrow. Tama? The same principle with intussusception. Usually, ang site na nagkakaroon ng intussusception is between the ileum and the cecum. Okay? Nag-imaginate yung smaller caliber intestine towards the larger caliber. So usually, ang papasok is the small intestine, and then ang receptacle is the large intestine, the cecum. Ito, nangyayari karaniwan sa mga newborn children kasi ang pinaka-fulcrum niya, ang point na talagang nag-trigger ng pagpasok ng small intestine is the appendix. So one of the treatment is we reduce it and then we remove the appendix. Hindi naman na bumabalik after. Okay? So huwag nyo lang isipin mo na yung management. It's just nice to know that there is such condition we call intussusception. Colonoscopy. Ito ay a diagnostic procedure at the same time. It's also a therapeutic modality sa mga difficult situations, kagaya ng intussusception. Pwede rin pang-reduce. However, usually, hindi yan ang pinag-reduce namin. Now, ang colonoscopy is just inserting a fiber optic camera into the anus, and then you follow the path of the large intestine up to the ileocecal area. The purpose of which is to diagnose any pathology. So, pwedeng inflammatory bowel disease, pwedeng stricture, pwedeng cancer, or any problem that is burdening the patient. Gano'ng kahaba ang colonoscope? Ilang metro? Ilang feet? Usually, mga nasa 6 feet. Pinahabo mo pa yun, pag ipinasok lahat ni Dr. Fieri yun, lalabas na sa idol ng pasyente yan. Hindi, joke lang. Hindi maabot yun.
Yawat to.
Mamaya ako na naman may kasalanan dahil sa hindi nyo makuha. Ang colonoscopy is up to the ileocecal, but they cannot enter the ileum. Okay? So, at times, they can see the lumen of the appendix. Pero hanggang doon lang sila. Okay? Snare biopsy. At the tip of the colonoscope, may opening yan na pwede ka magpasok ng snare. So if you see any polyp inside the large intestine, you can catch it and then puputulin nila yan. And then ilalabas yung polyp na nakita for biopsy. It's most commonly, pag nag-generate yan, it's usually, most common is adenocarcinoma. Okay? So, pag may nakita polyp, you do a biopsy. If it turns out to be tubulobilous adenomalamias, okay, monitor it. But if it's adenocarcinoma, that's another story. Colonoscopy findings of tumor. So, ganyan ang itsura ng tumor. Okay? Yung nasa baba dito, ito normal ito. Itong part na to, medyo normal pa. Pero itong mga areas of thickening na to, usually binabiopsy yan ng mga endoscopists. And pag ang lumabas is adenocarcinoma, definitely operation yan. Pathologies of large intestine. So, volvulus. The most common area na umiikot sa volvulus is yung anong part sa tingin niyo? Saan pwede magkaroon ng volvulus sa large intestine? What part ba ng large intestine are free? Sigmoid and transverse colon. Tama. Free ang transverse colon, free ang sigmoid. So those are the two areas where volvulus can happen. But the most common site is the sigmoid. Okay? So diverticulitis, lecture na natin kanina. Cancer and ulcerative colitis, which I have already discussed during the lecture on physiology. Colorectal cancer. So just to give you a little idea about this. So these are the different staging. So depending upon the layer that is involved, so the stages increases as the layer is progressively invaded. Okay? So we have stage 1, mucosa. Stage mucosa and up to submucosa. Stage 2 is paakyat yan sa muscularis layer. Stage 3, halos all layers are affected. And then stage 4, meron ka metastasis. Cecal cancer. I won't be giving you the management for such. Sinasabi ko lang sa inyo na ang treatment, for example, dito sa SIPO, ang operation na ginagawa is right hemicolectomy. But I want to discussing, asking that exam kasi hindi pa yung level yan, ang clerkship yan. Okay? So, ang pinuputol namin usually is ileocolic, middle colic, and right branch of the middle colic. So, ascending colon, halos the same sa right hemicolectomy. The transverse colon, extended right hemicolectomy, so up to the splenic flexure. So, we include the left branch of the middle colon. Splenic flexure, we have it's either we do a distal transverse colectomy, okay, or we do a left hemicolectomy. Descending tumor, left hemicolectomy. Sigmoid, sigmoidectomy. Pag rectal naman, we do lower resection. So, hindi pa yung level yan. Pinakakita ko lang. So, colostomy, this is a creation of an outlet. If the patient is not capable of moving their bowel through the anus, we create colostomy. For example, nagputol tayo dito, tapos pinagdikit natin, hindi mo pwedeng pataihin ng pasyente. Hindi siya pwedeng tumayo sa anastomosis kasi may chances na magbumuka yung pinagdikit natin intestine. So what we do is we create a colostomy here, or dito, proximal to the anastomosis. Okay, that's the purpose of ileostomy or colostomy. So makikita niyo yung principle na ginagawa namin, nilalabas namin dun sa may up to the skin, and then we suture the opening to the skin. So dun lalabas ngayon yung tahi. Bakit dalawang butas to? Bakit hindi pwede yung isa? Yung isa naman is for mucus fistula. Kasi pag sinara mo yan, hindi pwedeng tumae yung pasyente. Yung mucus na mapuproduce ng distal part, maiipon dun sa anastomosis, magkakaroon kayo ng problema sa anastomosis area. Kaya double barrel ang tawag natin. Here's Bronx. Na-discuss ko na ito, di ba? Anong hindi absent ka siguro, sir? Nandito ka ba nung diniscuss ko ito, sir? Patulog ka. Okay, gaya ng tanong ko dati, saan ang may Hirschsprungs dyan? Yung dilated o yung constricted? Constricted. Tama, naalala niyo ba? Yung perforate anus, tinanong niyo ito kay Dr. Kasuga. Okay? So makikita niyo, walang tweet. Anong alien? Alien. Walang tweet.
Kawawa naman.
So, ang imperforate anus, hindi talaga bumaba yung opening. So makikita niyo, yun yung rectum mo, tapos ito yung mga muscles niya. Ito. So ito muscles na to, dapat ito, nagda-dissect yan papaloob. Ang nangyari is, hindi siya bumaba, so hindi siya makakakain. Ito naman, hindi siya lumabas doon sa tamang muscle, in between the muscles. Lumabas siya anterior side ng may muscle. So, tumatago yung bata. Hindi yan mapapansin during the early days na pinanganak yung bata. Pero pag may tumanda na yan ng 1 year old, 2 years old, makikita mo, talagang ang tagay niya halos talagang maliliit lang. So mapapansin niya ng mga magulang natin, parang pag tumagi, parang straw lang maliit. Eventually, marirealize mo, it's actually a imperforate anus. So what do we do? Ito lang pinakamaganda nakita ko sa internet. Okay, bubuksan namin yung quid in between the layers of the muscles that naalala yung lecture ko sa internal sphincter tapos external sphincter. In between the left and the right internal sphincter, bubutasin namin yun. And then ilalabas namin yung large intestine through that, and then we're going to suture it yung tip niya sa skin. So we are creating an opening. And then, of course, you're not going to allow the kid to defecate through that. Gagawa ka na naman ng colostomy to protect the posterior sagittal and rectal plastic. Yun ang tawag ko. Okay? Nasagot ko na yung tanong nyo kay Dr. Kasuga. Hindi mahirap gawin ito. Nung last na ginawa ko ito, inabot ako ng 8 oras. Hindi ko na inulit. I-refer ko na lang sa ito. Okay? May questions pa? Actually, sa totoo lang, sasabihin ko sa inyo ang totoo, ang procedure nito ay napakamahal. Pero majority of the patients who suffer from imperforate anus ay usually yung nasa marginal area. Ang buhay, mahihirap.
Bakit kaya?
So, kung minsan, out of awa, gagawin mo talaga. Pero pagkatapos mo mag-opera, naaawa ka rin sa sarili mo kasi ang sakit ng batok mo, ang sakit ng likod mo, kasi it will take about 6 to 8 hours to do it.
Huh?
Bakit? Napakaliit na bata, ang liit na structures. And whenever you do an operation like this, kailangan isang trabaho lang, wala ka dapat babalikan. So hindi ka dapat magkakamali. So pansinin niyo mga pediatric surgeons, mag-iingat. Handahan magtrabaho. Yes, ma'am. Oo. Usually, ang panyan, pinatatagal namin ng 3 to 6 months. 3 to 6 months. Kasi kailangan totally healed lahat before mo ibababa. At saka hindi pa tatayo yun. You need at least 3 to 6 months para mag-mature yung ginawa mong ileostomy or colostomy. You cannot do immediate anastomosis or anastomosis. Magkakaroon ka ng leakage kasi yung swelling, yung adhesion sa loob, kailangan mag-stabilize mo yun. So, ang pinaka-time frame is 6 months or 1 year. Saka namin ngayon ilalabas. Ay, iba pa rin. Yung mga gusto mag-pediatric surgeon, nag-iisa lang pediatric surgeon namin sa nag-iisa lang ang pasensyosong surgeon sa Santiago City. Bakit pasensyoso? Napakahaba dapat ng pasensya mo pag pediatric surgeon ka. Hindi ka dapat nainipin at saka mahinipin na doktor. Kasi if you deal with children, maliban sa iyak ang iyak yung bata, yung structures na gagawin mo ang diliit. Okay? So yung mga mabusisi ninyong classmates dyan, you are welcome to train for pediatric surgery. Kung magtanong na kayo, magbibigay ako ng quiz. Yes. Okay, may tanong. How about the sphincter valve sa ni-repair natin? Yes. Usually, i-exercise natin yun. So, time and again, dinadilate. Yun yung trabaho namin pag mga first year pa lang kami, mga first semesters. Yun yung trabaho ng taga-release ka ng fluid, taga-tanggal ng tayo, taga-dilate ng fluid, ganun ang trabaho mo. And then, kailangan yung daily ginagawa. Kasi kung hindi mo gagawin yun, mag-i-stricture yung limang sphincters. So, kailangan may measurement na masusunod. So, meron kaming dilator. Maliit ang malaki. Every day. Any more question? Sige. May question? Oh. Meron silang patient na encounter tapos hindi agad ginawa yung PSAR. Kasi majority of perforate anus patients are pangit ang kanilang nutritional status. Kasi hindi sila makakain ng gusto eh. Tama? Sumasakit ang tiyan nila so hindi makakain ng gusto. So ang ginagawa ng mga pediatricians, binibuild up muna yung nutritional status. Never do operations sa gastrointestinal area na yung pasyente is not fully restored ang kanilang nutritional status. Okay? Kasi ang mangyayari yan, magbubutas yung anastomosis. Yes, ma'am.